Is it on?
No.
Oh, hello. What do I do now then?
You say hello.
Hello.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening and welcome. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Hi, folks. Hi, and hello. Welcome to this evening's live stream. It's been a while. It's been a while since I have done one of these with my with the hand who has a cuppa in a very special mug.
A very special mug.
With the occasional arm in shot.
Yeah.
So yes. We are back after a brief break. The reason for the brief break is my work world has been insane. And I've barely had enough of a brain left at the end of the day across the last 2 weeks to cover a small water biscuit. So, had we had streams over the last couple of weeks, I was just sat here like, what is this Warhammer thing anyway? How many points is it? And what sprint can you deliver it in?
Oh, the cat is here, Andrew. The cat is here. She is laid molting on the desk.
Just had a panic then because I didn't know if there were any books here that couldn't appear on camera. So here she is, and there's my belly, which has got a lot larger recently. Sad times. Sorry, resighting the camera. The camera is resighted, So
we can continue.
So usual format. I'm going to sit here and drivel, and that's about it. Oh no, there's more to it than that. I'm going to talk about what's been going on hobby-wise for since last time, which is a few weeks. And the answer is not a lot, to be quite honest, because of the aforementioned brain-hammering workload. Then we will talk about this week's topic, which is Codex squats. I mean, it says Leagues of Votan on it, but it's Codex squats, which GW have very kindly sent me free of charge for your reviewing pleasure. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll do some Q&A. And Crimson will be capturing the Qs, and we'll be maybe going to some As. Oh, see, we have an orange super chat from Mick the Machine. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you both live once again. Did he see us dead? Oh, not alive. Right. Sorry, I think I read it in your accent. Cheers, Mick.
It's been really strange.
Much appreciated.
It's been really weird not doing this on a Tuesday. It really has.
It has. It has been very odd. Thirsty. Still no sponsorship deal. Who'd have thought it? What diet beverage company would not want to be advertised by someone who's gaining weight at a logarithmic rate? The trousers that were falling off me 12 months ago are too tight now. Sad times. So, what has happened since last time we did this? So, we've had a number of things. So I can talk about videos, what I've been put on the YouTubes, and what's happened hobby-wise. Well, it's been very difficult to pick up the camera and film any of my hobby stuff. It's been we've been in brain drain city, Arizona, for quite a while. In fact, do you know something? I realised something this morning. I don't have a chance to tell you this yet. I realised on the way into work that today I wasn't absolutely dreading going into work yesterday.
Wow.
Normally I've been really dreading going in, but today there was no dread. And that's really good. That's really
because
good.
you spent the day with me yesterday. That's why. Watching the Queen.
Indeed. So no, there's not been much in the way of vlogging of the hobby. The thing I've been finishing over the last few weeks is my Astral Templar army for Age of Sigmar. It's a storm host, and I have now got it up to a shiny 2,000 points. It started during the for the Frontier campaign, and I decided what I was going to do was, rather than let it sit there and not be properly usable as an army forevermore, I would flesh it out and actually get it to an amount that that I could use. I finally did that. Of course, it didn't take the 2 weeks I thought it was going to. It took 8. But still not bad. So they are finished now. So I've got Griff Hounds and Ether Wings and a Chariot and
what about your models?
Well, quite. My Chariot's...
Oh, but you've missed this, haven't you, my corny joke?
My Chariot has sprung Ether Wings. Advertised by Claire Rayner, now with Ether Wings. There's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some Griff Hounds, and a Knight Zeros, and a Lord Arcanum on a Griff Charger, trying to keep the whole Griff Houndy theme to the thing. My plan is to do an army overview video for that, because I didn't get the chance to to capture any of it when I was doing the stuff. I had was it this weekend just gone, or was it in one of the few days before that? I had a random few hours, and I thought, what am I going to do with these few hours? Am I going to start on the next project, or am I going to just pick something and use it to fill in as a sort of, I'll do a random unit for a random army, which is what I did. And so I painted a unit of Free Guild Greatswords and a Free Guild General for my Caesar Sigmar army, my Free Guild, and enjoyed that very much and very pleased with the outcome. And those I did vlog about. Those I've vlogged about. So I've got about 15 minutes of vlog there, which is not enough to do for a whole vlog. So I'll see what is coming next and roll them in together. Videos that we've had over the last few weeks. There's been a few. We've had episodes, I think since last time, episodes 4 and 5 of the 5-year campaign, which now is complete and out, and everyone could see just how utterly brain dead and exhausted we were when we filmed episode 5, and that was good fun, and I hope people have enjoyed that, because it was certainly an amazing time filming it. So really pleased with that campaign. Really very pleased with it. What else? Crimson Meets Winters went up on Sunday.
Oh, did it?
It did, yes.
Oh, nice. Has anybody commented?
I haven't seen any comments as yet.
All right, okay.
But there's been a lot going on since then. That's probably one of the ones that builds up over time, rather than everyone watches it on day one. There are quite a lot of the hobby type ones are like that.
Oh, it's great to get feedback though. It's really good. So if anybody wants to put some feedback on it, that'd be great. And he's also going to come up again. So Oh, thanks, Kev. He's also going to come up again. So if you've got any questions for him, I'm happy to ask.
Well, plans were made, weren't they?
Plans were made. Yes.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say. Do you want to?
No,
go on. No, you go.
No, you go. You go.
What's going to happen next time he comes up?
Oh, he's going to play me.
He is.
Oh, for his sins. He'll probably never come again, but.
No.
But he said he would give me a game. He said. So yeah. So I was really. I think if you can see from the video, chuffed is probably the right word.
Very
I was
chuffed.
really pleased. And I said I'd do a barbecue. So we'll do that. Whether it's raining or not.
We
will be doing it.
Middle of winter, 3 feet of snow, barbecue.
We do actually barbecue in the snow, don't we? Where we have been known to barbecue in the snow.
I do like, yeah.
And sit outside with the fire pit
on.
And
yeah.
So we have been known to do that. So
I do like that.
Definitely do that when he comes up. Yeah.
And one other video was a game between Gambit and myself, a good old fashioned game of Warhammer 40,000. An open play game between Death Guard and Imperial Guard, and that was an absolute barrel of laughs. It really, really was. We kept it to a small game because he had to be home early because it was his daughter's birthday or something the next day, and he had to be home. And we finished by about 2 a.m. So it was pretty good. No, it wasn't that late, and he was very good at getting home on time. But it definitely went on longer than we anticipated a small game would. But it was just so much fun, and the rules we were using for some of the units were just hilarious and insane, and it was it was a great laugh. Really enjoyed that. Hoping to do more games like that in the not too distant future. There's been a couple of other review type things for G Dubs. What have you done anything hobby wise over the last few weeks?
No, because I hurt my back. I've got lots of things planned, but I hurt my back quite badly, really. So
You've got a bad back, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a bad back anyway. I'm waiting for surgery, but I hurt my back quite a lot, and it all went a bit out of the window, didn't it? I was going to play the lovely Joe, but it wouldn't have stood up to it. But it is feeling much better now. So, I've been sort of out of it a little bit, haven't I? Over the last few.
Yeah, we get you back into it. We fill you up to the brim with drugs and
lots of drugs. This weekend, lots of drugs. So if most of the time I'm smacked up, just let me know I am, Mick.
Lots of pharmaceuticals.
Stop, Mick. Tell me stop taking that medication, Sarah. So
yeah, there's a couple of us getting together for some games this weekend, aren't there? And we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, we are.
So that's mostly it around the recent stuff, except that it's not. So this book, Leagues of Votan, or Codex Squats, which is basically what it is. So there's a story with this, and I thought I would tell you the story, and then we'd sit and have a bit of a flick through the book. Yeah. So,
does anyone know where Moog is?
I don't.
I've been speaking to him this week, but I've not. I don't know where he is now.
No, we don't know.
He's probably painting things for this weekend. He's probably manically painting things. I don't know. Where he is.
So, where to start with this one?
Do you want to just acknowledge this comment from Antonio while you have a think?
Okay, what is it?
Antonio says, rumour on competitive subcredit says Votan Codex is banned on Germany competition events. Did you know that?
Okay, no.
No?
No, what competitive events do and don't do is of...
I think you were just putting it out there.
Yeah.
It's worth talking about.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure it's aimed at the people in the chat rather than myself because it's not my bag. But
I just thought I'd let you know.
No, thanks. It's one of those.
It's nice to know what our other.
Yeah, I just
countries are doing and not doing,
because
isn't it?
Yeah, it is because it's the competitive scene. It's I really wouldn't know where to start on commenting on it. I really wouldn't. So the Leagues of Votan box turned up, and I was really really very, very excited to receive it. And what have I done?
Just to sort of let you all know, if you've got any questions or comments, stick them in the chat, and I will bring them up at an appropriate time. Put them in there, and can we hit the thumbs up just because it makes me smile? Give us a like. That's if you do like it, obviously. Give us a like.
Is there a target number of likes? That
yeah, 33.
For? 33 likes.
Yeah, because there's 33 watching. So it's normally Kev's in charge of this, but I know he will be on it later. Thanks, Danny.
So, Leagues of Votan turned up. Really excited. I had to sit next to the box for a day working because I wanted to be able to unbox it. Because part of the joy of the unboxing is the new discovery I'm seeing it the first time you guys are. So, with a couple of very minor exceptions, I stick to that as rigidly as I possibly can. So I had to sit next to it for a whole day. Then I cracked it open and unboxed it, and I started having all sorts of different thoughts about what league am I going to do, and is it going to be possible to get these ready to do a small solo hammer game for release day so I can put that out. I thought, oh, it's going to be fantastic. And then the next day, it was mentioned on Discord somewhere that someone had leaked the Codex onto Reddit. And obviously, that didn't go down very well with GW, as you might expect. And it completely took the wind out of my sails because it sort of made me ask the question, what's the point of me in that scenario where and it's happened on other codices before where I've discovered after I've written after I've made reviews of things that they'd already been leaked, and in those instances I didn't know, but it really took the wind out of my sails, and I sort of thought, what's the point of my spending time doing a review, sort of reading into it, trying to learn how the army plays, look at what works, what doesn't, where the narrative comes from, and then because by the time I've done that, someone's posted the whole thing online, and everyone kind of read it for themselves because it's it's a review. It's a sort of what you get. It's meant to be a sort of this is what's coming up, and so yeah, I felt very, very despondent. That it's like just like what's the point? So having already done the unboxing, I decided to leave it at that, and rather than parking other projects and trying to get these done as soon as possible, like the enthusiasm went out of it pretty much entirely. So that's why on content day, all there was an unboxing, but we have it here tonight. So I'm going to open it and flick through it and start to talk about some elements of it, and hopefully they won't be things that you already know. Maybe they will be. I don't know. Normally, I'd say, well, still, if you have any questions, put them on. But I don't imagine you will, because it's been leaked on the internet for about 2 weeks now. So, okay, so where to start? So you've got the standard stuff about objective secured, and what's become fairly standard now. You can only have a maximum of one Carl in a detachment. So you can only have one leader of your army in your army, basically. And then you get League Customs, which is basically your particular league of the leagues.
Commander Autism's just saying that he's ignored all the leaks, so this is all new to him. Good on ya.
Good though. So where are we?
Yeah, Mick's just saying that other reviewers put the competitive spin on their reviews and have no emotion in what they say. They simply do it for the numbers. Yeah, that is probably true. Andrew says if we didn't have your beard, they'd all be very sad.
Okay, so here's the gist of here's the gist. What's the gist? One thing that is quite obvious to me from the book is so in some of the other codices recently, notably Chaos Space Marines and Codex Demons, they have trodden a path heading more towards simplicity. This book doesn't. So I suspect this book was written around the time that we had Tau and Knights and Eldar written. So it's not insane levels of complexity, but it's still not quite so straightforward as some of the more recent stuff. So what do we have? Well, there's a weapon style called Hunter weapons. And effectively, a hunter weapon is a excuse me. A hunter weapon is basically an assault weapon, but you don't get the benefits of the assault bit. So being able to run and fire and that sort of stuff. So effectively, you can have a number of shots at your maximum range of the weapon. Or you could say it's a rapid fire weapon without the rapid fire bit. It's basically just gun with range, number of shots, which is kind of a gun type that has been lacking. But they've given it a specific name and it's specific to the squats. Now, the Eye of the Ancestors is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. Now, I think there are a number of different ways of looking at this. There's one way of looking at this is saying it's dwarves in space, because you could read this being about grudges and resentment and so on. Or you could read this as being about a highly sophisticated learning supercomputer that is the Skynet. You could read this as being Skynet. So, sorry, I thought Lemon was knocking my drink over. So during the course of the battle, you may apply what it calls judgment tokens to enemy units under various conditions. And the number of judgment tokens it has associated with it give you different benefits against that unit. So those conditions are: when an enemy unit destroys a Votan unit, it gains a judgment token. Now, these are to a maximum of 3. When an enemy unit successfully completes an action or a psychic action, it gains a judgment token. And at the end of your opponent's turns, you can select one enemy unit within range of an objective marker that your opponent controls, and this unit gains a judgment token. Now, then there's lots of sort of flowery words around this, but basically, every time a squat unit attacks a unit that has a judgment token on it, it gets you get a bonus. So if it has one judgment token, it's priority target identified. So this is why I choose to interpret this as the supercomputer reading the battle and saying, this is a threat, do something with it. And it kind of fits, right? Because it's all to do with where squat units wink out and die on the battlefield, and then where the enemy start to achieve something, i.e. actions, and whether your opponent is holding some kind of vital location. So this to me is about the computer learning. So one token, priority target identified. On an unmodified hit roll of 6, the attack automatically wounds the target. Lemmy's trying to climb on the computer. 2 tokens, eminent threat. On an unmodified hit roll of 5, that attack successfully hits the target. If that attack hits the target, it also automatically wounds. So that's it getting better. And then 3, now we've got a grudge to settle. That definitely leans towards the dwarves in space side of things. On a hit roll of 4, the attack automatically wounds the target. I see that as sort of computer guidance. Then there are a couple of additional rules around weapon types. Magna Rail is a hypervelocity linear accelerator weapons that fire projectiles capable of punching holes through any target. You cannot take invulnerable saves against Magna Rail weapons, and a modified wound roll of 6. Excess damage wraps round onto other models. Steady advance. You ignore any and all modifiers to move characteristic and all modifiers to advance and charge rolls. So basically, squats are slow. We don't want them to be any slower. Each time a squat unit advances, don't roll. Instead, add 3. So we want them to be specifically this slow, as opposed to variable degrees of slowness. Then there's Void Armor. Each time an attack is made against a unit, your opponent cannot re-roll the wound roll and can not re-roll the damage roll. And then each time an attack is allocated to model the unit, the armor penetration characteristic of that attack is reduced by 1. Now, this is a pet hate of mine, because none of these things would be necessary if these weren't stats that were used to creep the power level up on other armies. Are you all right there?
I'm trying to take my sweatshirt off. Just sorry. I'm hot. Sorry, everyone. I was trying to do it so anyway.
So I seem to be leaning into this mechanic where you switch off other people's rules, and rather than just bringing armor pen levels back down to a 0 baseline and only adjust upwards for things that are supposed to adjust upwards, they've got a add your pluses, add your minuses together kind of thing going on. I suspect we're going to see that in the next edition. Then they've got the beam weapons. Excuse me. You fire a beam weapon at a target unit, and if that happens to cross other enemy units in the intervening path, you score hits against them as well. Or you roll to hit. Now, if the hit's scored on the target unit, you draw the line, and every intervening unit also hit as well. So that's it for special rules. So there's not a huge number of them, but then there's layers with the relics and the warlord traits and the other things.
Do you want to do comments so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard is very eagerly awaiting his book, as he's got thoughts. I've got thoughts on my own custom league based on snippets we've seen. There seems to be no sneaky or devious league. Can you confirm?
No sneaky or devious league. Let's have a look. The Great Furian League counts as 2 models on an objective. Can do some rerolls. The Trans-Hyperion League is additional strength if you've been wounded, honor the ancestors, and a bit of extra armor pen. Kronos Hegemony, +1 attack if you've charged or heroically intervened. Add 1 to strength if you've done that. Imye conglomerate. Add 4 inches to the range of ranged weapons. Models with this characteristic that have a 2+ save gain a 4+ vulnerable save. That's quite interesting, actually, because I was looking at the red ones, and they're the red ones. The Urani Certa Regulates, +1 toughness. Reroll failed morale tests. There's nothing sneaky I can see so far. Established League Customs. How many pages of these are there? So there's 2 pages of these. If you don't have a league, you can select 3 customers from the following list. Martial Clone Schemes, +1 strength. Vengeful, extra judgment tokens. Brutal Efficiency, more judgment token stuff. Close Quarters Prioritization, charge roll bonuses. Stoic, fail morale tests. Taking it personally. Extra judgment. Honor in toil. +1 to hit if you're below starting. War songs. Reroll to hits in melee. Refined power cores. Extra move. Quick to judge. More judgment tokens. Superior beam capacitors. Extra strength of your beams. Unwavering discipline. Ignore modifiers to hit, weapon, and ballistic skill if the target's got judgment tokens. Void hardened. Modified wound rolls of 1 and 2 don't auto fail. Warrior's Pride. Reroll a wound roll when attacking. Weaponsmiths. Add 4 inches to the range characteristic. Nope, nothing sneaky. Nothing sneaky I can see at all.
Big bad Peter. Big
Was
bad
that-
Peter.
Oh! Big Bad Peter, member for 8 months using his members chat. Paul and Crimson, you are the best. Keep on going.
Oh,
Thanks, Big Bad Peter.
thank you. That's really nice. Moog's here. You found him. You found him, Mick. Moog's comment just before that. Do you want to answer that?
So do squats just natively turn off invulnerable saves, or is that just a particular and hopefully very limited weapon? Just a particular weapon. There might be a stratagem, I'm not sure, but it's just a Magna Rail weapon. And they are... Let's have a quick look at the weapons list and see if... ranged weapons. The Magna Rail rifle. This looks like a heavy weapon. It's a hunter weapon, but it hits like a las cannon. And that looks like the only one. There's probably some relics. Looks like Magna Rail. Oh no, there's another one. Heavy Magna Rail cannon. That's a lot nastier. Heavy 1, strength 14, -4, 2d3 + 6 damage, Magna Rail, which means you ignore the invulnerable saves and excess damage goes on to other models. Yeah, pretty limited from what I can see.
Aaron's asking, how big of an army is this one going to grow into?
For me, don't know. I mean, I do like them. It's really difficult to tell. I mean, angry space bikers. How big is it going to grow? Do you know? I don't know how big any of my armies are going to grow. I imagine certain ones are going to be huge and they end up being tiny, and vice versa. I had plans for a massive Empire army in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It ended up just being 500 points, but that was mainly because they killed Fantasy Battle and there was no game to
It
play.
was 3,000 points.
Well, I don't know. So units, Carl is basically your. There are reading in the narrative. There are different levels of Carl, depending on whether you're talking at a sort of army level, at a clan level, at a detachment level. Carl is basically the leader unit that is in charge of a group of squats of a given size. It's got the Space Marine Captain thingy going on, so re-rolling hit rolls of 1. It's got a few options. It can do a teleporter thing. It can do an invulnerable save. It could just pass out judgment tokens. And it's got a power fist that isn't called a power fist. Power axe isn't called a power axe. Then there's an Enya champion, which is effectively, and I would call it like a lieutenant. It's a Hearthguard character, so it's basically a sort of I guess kind of like a company champion kind of thing. It's got uber armor and massive hammers and axes, and I think they're very cool. And it can also either teleport or have a shield type ability. They've got these crests on the models, and the but what I haven't been able to see anywhere is which ones actually match which thing. So you know how in other kits, there's a part of the kit denotes what piece of war gear it is. I can't seem to work that out from here. I
think just seeing a question relevant to what. Is there any reference to the old squats?
Not that I've seen. There is no reference to squats on here at all. But in the same way that Astra Militarum isn't called Imperial Guard, although there are possibly are some references in that book to it. But to me, they're still Guard, and to me, these are still squats because I started playing in Second Ed when squats were squats.
Andrew says, were squats eaten by Tyranids, or was that retconned?
It hasn't been retconned in here. So the old squat homeworlds were supposedly wiped out by the Tyranids. These are basically in a corner of the galaxy that's really difficult to get to. Can I even remember the exact? It was all to do with them being cut off, basically, and existing in a sort of pocket of the galaxy, and now they've started to explore out a bit. So other stuff that we have on here, a unit type called the Grimnir. Back in the day, this used to be called an Ancestor Lord. This is your Psyker. The Grimnir or living ancestors are privy to the wisdom of the Votan and are as close to priests as the secular kin get. So that's your Psyker. The Brookier Iron Master is your thingy beast. What has it got? Beast unit.
It's a question from Adam. Paul, views on the Votan that has gone insane.
Okay, 2 seconds. Yeah, the Brocket Iron Master is your sort of repair-y type one. It's your engineer, tech marine type. My views on
is it Votan? Is that how you say it? Votan. That has gone insane.
My views on the Votan that has gone insane.
Yeah. Paul, views on the Votan that's gone insane.
I'm not so.
Comment.
So I'm possibly a bit. I haven't necessarily picked up everything from the book.
Right, okay.
So if there is a crazy Votan, I haven't found it yet. Apologies. Halfkin Warriors are pretty cool. They've all got the sort of 4+ save exo armor, which is quite good. The movement's 5. I've only just spotted that rather than 4. That's very disappointing because a lot of things are movement 5. The squats used to be movement 4 back in the day. Ho-hum. They're strength 4, toughness 4, 2 attacks. They're Space Marine profile, basically, except they're 1 wound. Their basic weapons are pretty good. The Autok pattern bolter is a Hunter 2 weapon, but it's AP -1, so it's still better than a bolter. And the where's it gone? Autok pattern bolter. Ion Blaster, that's the chap. It's 18-inch Hunter 1, strength 5 -2, 2 damage. So it's a real punchy killer, but you get 1 shot and it's shorter range. They've also got some nice bits of kit. They can have special weapons. The special weapons are all really cool. You've got sort of variants of missile launchers, Magna rifles. But the kit you can give them is quite nice, and the whole unit can have these. So you can have one of each of these in the unit. Medic, you ignore the first damaging. Come on, brain. The first damaging thing that gets past your armor, the damage is changed to 0. So basically, it's ignore the first hit. Multi-wave comms array. Whilst the bearer's unit is within 24 inches of a Carl, it's considered to be within range of the model's kindred hero aura. So if you've got a comms array, your general's buff goes further. And the pan-spectral scanner. The bearer's unit gains the scanner keyword. And in addition to each time a model, but your opponent doesn't get light cover whilst you have the pan-spectral scanner. And there are some stratagems that use the scanner. And that's basically your troop type. That's it. But you can give them different guns for different shootsy situations. You can get the sort of really heavy anti-tank type weapons and some of the slightly more generic so, for example, one of the special weapons is a high las auto rifle, 24-inch range, Hunter 3, strength 6 -2, 1 damage. Not, earth shattering, but good. And the models are really cool as well. I like the variety on the models. Then you've got the half guard, and they are basically your Terminator equivalents. They're your veterans. They can have a teleporty option. They can have a invulnerable save option. They're strength, toughness 5, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 2+ save. All the 2s. And they can have a combination of guns and hammers, or guns and axes. Is it guns and axes? Plasma, blade, gauntlet. Can't quite tell from the picture if that's an axe. I think that was an axe. Then you've got Chthonian Berserkers. They're another elite choice. These are basically combat psychopaths. Very similar profile to the Half Guard, except they've got virtually no armor, but more attacks. But they can shrug damage because they're heavily cybered, and they've got a cyber stim rule that means they can still fight even if they've been killed. Then you've got the Hurkin Pioneers. So these are your sort of they skim across alien worlds and scout enemy positions. These are your bikes. Then you've got the Sagittar, which is it's a light-ish vehicle. It's toughness 7, 9 wounds, 3+ save, so it doesn't degrade. It's got a transport capacity of 5. And it's got a mounted assault special rule. If the unit only contains 2 models, if the unit contains 2 models, the option is 1 to 2, then you can put it into reserves, and you can split units of either warriors or berserkers that can to 2 separate units, each containing 5. So basically, you can put units of 10 into the 2 units of 5. I like that. It's a very nice, nice little thing. Then you've got the Thunderkin, which are the big heavy weapon types. Similar again, strength, toughness 5, 3 wounds this time, 3+ save, and they've got the big guns, and their omnivisors cancel out the benefits of dense cover. Then you've got the Land Fortress, which is just a behemoth. A toughness 8, 16 wound, 2+ save. It's a land raider, basically. Because it can transport 12 models, bristling with guns. It's a big beastie. And that, I'm not going to go through the stratagems and warlord traits and those things. Those are my musings on the Codex. There's not a huge variety of kits. I wouldn't expect there to be for an initial release of a new book. I would expect in 12 to 18 months, when they refresh the Codex, maybe 2 years, there to be more troops added and another multi-part kits to flesh it out in exactly the same way as the AdMech are more fleshed out now, having gone through a couple of editions of extras, of gaining extras. But the there's some good stuff in there. A few different vehicles, a couple of different characters, bit of variety. Your basic, come on, what's it called? The basic troop unit has got a lot of variety of how you can equip it, which I like. So it's a decent book. It's not too complex. It could be more straightforward, but it's not too complex. I get the impression it's quite powerful from talking to people, from listening to the general chatter, but like I said, I haven't stayed terribly close to that, partly because, as I mentioned, the wind went out of my sails with it, but also partly because I've been so busy with the day job over the last couple of weeks. So how are we for questions?
We've got some in Discord, but just before that, Joe says he's not sure whether you've answered this question or not, but what's your favourite unit in the Codex? And then he's put Berserkers have my Votan. I love it. I like a nice joke. Oh no! I like it.
My favourite unit in the Codex. I think it's the basic unit. I think it's the troop unit in the exo armor. I think they're solid, and whilst they share a lot of similarities with units from other armies, I think they are sufficiently distinctive in both appearance of the models and the way they've constructed the stats for them. But yeah, I like the basic kin warriors.
Oh, Kev. Thanks, Kev. We made it to 33. We got 34 now. Thanks, Kev. Okay, we've got some Discord questions now. So we've got what we did up to the 30th, didn't we? So Kevin Cadfile asks, where's the
we didn't do the ones on the
Oh, have you
30th.
got them up there? Oh, you do those.
No, but I don't think we did the ones from the 30th.
Oh, you if you've got them up there, that's fine. I was just trying to make it easier, but if you've got them on there, that's great. Crack on.
Okay. Well, I put the Hujuat. There it is. Why is the Orc language essentially just poorly spelled Gothic English in a funny voice? If they're an alien species, why do they not have their own language? Well, there's probably a number of answers to that. One is that I think it's easier for GW to write fiction for them, to have them speak in the same language as pretty much everyone else, because otherwise it would be that, and they have to make them seem less intelligent because of the nature of the race. So they effectively get a sort of pigeon style English, as you say, badly spelled Gothic. If I were looking for an in-character reason, I would probably say that because the Great Old Ones, or the Brain Boys, designed them to be the ultimate species, they probably don't. If you had a species that could absorb and remember information genetically, so either it passes it on from one generation to another, or it picks it up from its surrounding, then you take away the issue of civilizations rising and collapsing. So I would say it's that. Why are basic Orc troops called boys when Orcs are genderless? Well, I would say two answers. One is because they were conceptualized in the 90s when gender balance on games like this weren't even a thing that people thought of. It's probably one answer. Another answer is probably that boys in this context is used a lot in the same way as the word guys is used in a lot used in modern English, and that is more and more becoming a genderless term to just refer to a group of people. So I would say that's the other answer. Immortan Joe asks, with the mutilators gone, do you think that design space opens up for a new similar unit on the World Eaters book? If so, is it likely? I think there will be new units in the World Eaters book. I don't have any doubt in my mind over that. If before the advent of the 8th edition Death Guard Codex, you'd said to me, there are a lot of conversation was about why is there going to be a Death Guard Codex? What's it going to have in it? It's going to have a Chaos Lord and Plague Marines and nothing else. Maybe Plague Zombies. There was a lot of conversation around that. And I think that's very similar. There will be all sorts of demon engines and probably demon type kin, like possessed, sort of uber cornate specific possessed. There will also be the possibility for what blood worshipping psychopaths can open up to. I mean, if you just look at the Age of Sigmar, Blades of Khorne as a for instance. So Hill 42 asks,
Sorry.
was that you trying to get my attention?
No, it was the laptop falling off my knee.
Sorry. When are you starting a Space Dwarf army?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the answer is different on different days. At the moment, my army build focus is very heavily in AOS. I'm loving AOS, and there's loads I want to do. But when I think of 40k, at the moment, I think of Imperial Guard, I think of Orcs, I think of Necrons, and Squats are a whole army from scratch. So, don't know, it's maybe going to go on ice for a while, which is sad because I had intended to be all over the Squats, but hey. Catchfile Relic Hunter asks, where is best to start with AOS? Well, I think it depends very much on whether we're talking about the lore or learning the game or models. I think from a lore point of view, you can do a lot worse than some of the Black Library novels, which you can buy from GW, you can get on the likes of Kindle, you can get them audiobooks. A friend of mine used to get them from his local library all the time because they would order them in for him. So I would start with the AOS novels to build up knowledge of the universe. The most forgiving army to play are Stormcast Eternals. They are you don't need a lot of models for the points. They're relatively straightforward to paint because of the well-defined. They're relatively straightforward for me, for my style of painting, because they have lots of lines and crevices. It means you can ink them and dry brush them. So there's lots of options there. They're also points per model is quite high, and they're a good intro to the game from that perspective. But if you were to just look at an army and want to play it, you could start a lot worse. Do a lot worse than starting with a start collecting box, because those are normally pretty balanced from what I can see. Pretty good.
Just before we move on, Niall Walsh has put a question in there. It says, in AOS, is there much option for allies like 25% of your army? And do you have any plans for bringing allies in AOS?
Oh, yes. So allies in AOS is fantastic. In AOS, it depends whether you're playing matched play or whether you're playing sort of open play. In match play, there is a points restriction to it as well, but I think it's 25% of the value of your army. But effectively, the rules are that so if you ignore that match play points cap, for every 4 units you have in your army, 1 of them can be an ally. So if you've got 8 units in your army, 2 of them can be from one of your allies. Job done. Simple. Really straightforward. And then some of your special rules apply to your allies, some of them don't. Anything that affects friendly models affects them. Anything that affects, Daughters of Cain affects them. It's brilliant and it's straightforward, and I love it. And I've got a number of armies where I've got allies kicking about, or I have used them on a couple of occasions in a couple of games. I think with my this was against the venerable Mr. Moog. I think I had some Rockgut Troggoths as an ally into my Cruel Boys. Yeah. So I like the ally system. I think it's really good.
Discord.
Wolf Corgi asks, are there any units or factions you don't have, won't have any more of, as they're too much of a faff to build and paint? I did swear a long time ago that I was never going to build and paint any more Hex Wraiths. However, since then I have built another 5 Hex Wraiths. That could be because I was trying to paint them in the same way as I was painting something else, and the models didn't lend themselves to it. I would say my inclination is away from the likes of the Drakari at the moment, because they are incredibly fiddly both to build and paint. But I think that's more because I'm not feeling the Eldar at the minute. So no, I think generally speaking, it doesn't put me off too much. Generally speaking. And then we have from Moog, do you think there was a massive schism in Squat Society at some point between those who wanted to pretend to be fantasy dwarves and those who just wanted to go on being humans, albeit stocky, tough due to colonized planetary conditions, and culturally distinct, just like the rest of the panoply of cultures represented in the human galaxy diaspora? Given squats seem to be firmly Dowie in space these days, how long before Grotek and Gromendal show up on the scene? I doubt those two are going to show up. Do I think there was a schism in Squat Society? Well, no, because I don't think if you were to actually sit and think about society, I don't think anyone would have sat there and gone, "We want to be dwarves," or "We don't want to be dwarves." It's a pretty abstract question that I think I think is just framed around getting some discussion over the are they just Dowie in space side of things. And I think are they Dowie in space depends on how you choose to play them and what your approach to them is. I think there is enough that is different in that book to choose to not follow that stereotype. I think there's also enough in that book that if you want to just treat them as space dwarves, you absolutely, totally can do that. I don't know if that actually answers the question, Moog, but those are my thoughts. That's it from Discordia.
Okay, I've just seen a question. Hang on a second.
Hanging.
How long? Aaron asks, how long do you think it will take till we will get some 40k equivalent of Skaven.
A very long time. A very long time. A very long time. Because producing a brand new race is a costly thing to GW. They've got to design a whole miniature line. They've got to produce all the artwork. They've got to produce all the Black Library content, all the narrative. They've got to playtest an entire faction from scratch. They've got to design all the kits. There's a lot to go through, which means there's a significant upfront cost and investment. They will have a cost-benefit model that says how much they can make through doing various changes, which is one of the reasons I'm sure why they crank books out, because they know they bring a lot in compared to the outlay. So any brand new army they bring out, they will have to be pretty darn sure it's going to sell very heavily. Now, squats have been, since I came back to the hobby after about a 4-year break, people have been clamoring for squats to come back since then. And I think they've almost got a, in case of emergency, break glass and return the squats thing. They've known that these were going to absolutely sell, and they've decided to reintroduce them. They're going to be that. If you go back to the early 2000s, the late 90s and the early 2000s, from when I stopped playing at the end of second, when I started playing at the start of fourth, they had introduced Dark Eldar, they had introduced Tau, they had introduced Necrons, they had introduced Witch Hunters and Grey Knights. Now, admittedly, some of those were already units, like Grey Knight Terminators was a unit in the Imperial Agents book. But in that period of time, they cranked out 4, 5, 6 new armies plus. I can't think of the last time they introduced anything brand new to the game world. I mean, really brand new. So, yeah, I don't think there is any impetus for them whatsoever to bring in space rats when they can get the same kind of. They can probably get better sales by doing other things. Is my view on that.
Okay, so Adam says, here's a question. What do you think is coming after the Emperor's Children? Is it the Hurd maybe?
Hurd. After the Emperor's Children. Well, I don't know what's coming before the Emperor's Children. So, I mean, we know that World Eaters are coming. I think Emperor's Children are a couple of years off because they've been included in Codex Chaos Space Marines, whereas the World Eaters haven't. So we know the World Eaters are in the near to mid future. But they're probably not going to be in the near future because we've been given an index in White Dwarf to bridge a gap. So will they be out before 10th Ed? I don't know. They may well be the launch faction for 10th Ed. Don't know.
Rogue says word bearers need their own codex.
No, they don't. They don't need their own codex more than many other armies need their codex. I would love to see every legion and every chapter have their own codex with lots of unique narrative, unique stratagems and rules and models and units to all of the they could flesh out all of them really, really well. They would all be distinct, but they don't. Almost none of them need it, and I say that as a word bearer player. I would love to see all sorts of things in that book. I don't need it. You can play word bearers perfectly happily at the minute without that, without their own book. It's a lot harder to play something like Emperor's Children at the minute without its own book. They do.
They're dull.
Stop being contrarian.
They're dull.
When do I think the Lion will return? I don't know. I've been wrong about that every in all my other predictions. What I would love to see GW do is bring the Lion back and have him draw all of the Dark Angels together back into a legion, and have a whole bunch of unique units based around them being knights in space, and it being a splinter group of the Imperium. I'd love that. I think that would be superb. I mean, I keep saying it on the internet regularly in the hope that it makes it happen. It's not going to happen. The thing that always struck me with Dark Angels was they are knights in space, but they're knights in space with no swords, no shields, no robes, and with guns. It's only the special units, that are knights in space. I'd like to think they'd bring that back in 10th Ed. I'd like to see more balance with the Primarchs, and there'd be more infighting in the Imperium, or not even so much infighting as different views, different approaches, bringing the bits of the Imperium into conflict with each other in the narrative more. It's an interesting one because it feels to me like GW have moved in the direction of wanting to have reasons for armies to fight each other for such a long time, so that when they have sort of what some people might refer to as blue on blue, Marines versus Marines, you can actually say, oh, the narrative is this, and and I think they kind of leant away from that. They missed an opportunity without the Primaris Marines, and I like the idea that there could be a lot of story around where, whilst not enemies, where Gilliman's Imperium comes into conflict with the Lion's vision for the Imperium, which comes into contact with the Russ's vision for the Imperium, and Korax's vision, and Khan's vision. Or even though they don't have their vision, but they're doing their own thing with their legion, and they decide on a case by case basis what they do. And I think there could be a huge, rich narrative mine there, and they could also produce all sorts of models for, I mean, you think about what a White Scar army could look like if it was. If it was pulled away from the Codex, if Gilliman went, do you know what, this Codex thing really hasn't worked out because look at the state of the Imperium now. Let's go back to legions, boys, and see how that plays out. And yes, it would. That if you sort of created a real world simulator and then let all that play out, it probably wouldn't work too well. But there's absolutely no reason that the narrative geniuses at GW can't stitch that all together and make it a game world that isn't overrun by the Xenos and the forces of chaos, and where there is sort of infighting and there's a load they could do. But it's all about investment versus reward. They are a business, and I have no issue with that. Questions?
No, I don't. No, I'm just trying to use my membership.
The membership chat thing, it won't let you.
Won't let me. No, won't let me do it. Won't let me send it.
I
know, it's just rude.
Show me.
Won't let me send.
You haven't typed anything in it.
I know I haven't typed anything. Oh, now it's saying message.
Crimson member for 16 months.
Yeah. I wanted to.
Did you type a lot in it before?
No,
it's got a character
just
limit.
one line.
Oh no.
Moog, thank you. I've used it. All I wanted to do was do a shout out for Paul Fest 3. That's what I wanted to do.
Paul Fest 3.
I'll just do it. Paul Fest 3.
What is it?
22nd of October.
When
Paul
is
Fest
it?
3. Thanks to Mick the Machine. How many tickets left, Mick? Oh, I'm glad Mick's membership's playing up as well. Moog. Moog, you're being argumentative, Moogs. Just remember that we are seeing you face to face this weekend, yeah? Bring your trunks. Hot tub.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Moog.
No.
Moog, bring your trunks.
No.
Everybody bring the trunks. Why?
Because.
You're just being mean. Just bring them. Yeah. How many tickets left, Mick?
Many.
Oh, many. Yeah. There were 13 before. I don't know whether there's any left. Really worth coming. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. 22nd of October, guys. Oh, that's sad. Thanks, Kev. Thank you, Moog.
So Moog, I have to read it out. Moog, you member for 23 months. You used his membership shout out. Paulfest 3, stop. October 22nd, stop. Belper, stop. Be there, stop. £20 a ticket, stop. Tabletop events, stop. Google them, stop. Do it now, stop.
Well, that were a lot better than shout out I got for using mine. Favoritism there, Mo.
Well, quite.
16 months and I don't even. Just disgusting.
I know. Are there any other shout outs?
Yes. Mick. Thank you, Mick, for your super chat. And also Big Bad Peter for using his 8 months membership comment, and Moog's 23-month membership comment.
And Crimson's 16-month comment.
Yes. Well, nearly.
Nearly.
But it must be playing up because Mick says it's playing up at his end as well.
Yeah, it must be. Well, and a big thank you to Crimson for the sterling admin as ever.
Okay. Oh, and Joe, membership for 24 months.
Have you seen the yellow sign?
You've got a yellow sign, but I've not got one.
The yellow sign? That's not. That's always there.
Oh, is it always there?
It's just my name appears
Thank
in
you,
yellow
mate.
for some reason.
Oh.
So, on that happy note, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who is a channel member or a Patreon for your ongoing support. It is very much appreciated. And until next time, stay safe, and we will see you in the next one. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye.